Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gary with Fan TV. Back at you with another video. At the content this video, go smash that like button at the content of this channel. Go subscribe, man. Look, so Ravens training camp day 5, the very first day with pads on, so we got to talk about it. All right, so injury report, offense, defense. Let's just get right into it. All right, injury report. Rashad Bateman, Jair Alexander, Bilal Kone did not practice today, okay? Now, Bilal Kone was out with a shoulder injury that he suffered the last time he practiced, which was a couple of days ago. He went up for a pass breakup, collision at the catch point, came down hard, hurt his shoulder, all right? John Harbaugh said it's not too serious, so we could see him back soon. Okay. Jair Alexander, he had his knee drained after some swelling. And John Harbaugh said that's not serious. Well, I'll come back to that one. Rashad Bateman, sick. Apparently, Rashad Bateman was feeling sick, and the Ravens sent him home. Apparently, he did not want to go home, but they sent him home, okay? All right, now, for Jair Alexander, and now we'll talk about an injury that happened in practice, okay? For Jair Alexander, this is the one thing that's always been around, right? Now, when I hear like you had to get your knee drained after some swelling, to me that sounds pretty serious. John Harbaugh tried to say, well, it's not that big of a deal. We expect to see him back in practice pretty soon, and that's how he's going to carry it. That's how he's going to carry it. I have been around long enough to know that I don't always trust John Harbaugh when it comes to injury updates, and it's not his job to be completely honest with us and tell us the whole entire truth about injuries, right? That's not his job, so I'm not upset with that or anything like that, right? I'm just not going to take it completely at face value. When I hear you got to get your knee drained after some swelling, I'm a little concerned. Okay, it's only been a week of practice, and we're already having that. Especially with a guy that has an injury history like Jair Alexander does. Now he's a great player when he can play. He plays great. That's the issue when he plays. All right, so second week of training camp. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes from here. But definitely something to monitor and look out for. All right. Now, Jake Hummel returned to practice. He hasn't practiced at all the first week. He's out with the hand injury. Now, practice injury. Jalen Armour-Davis went down with the injury doing team drills, and he did not return. That's another guy that's had a long, substantial history and battle with injuries. Okay, so we'll see what happens with Jalen Armour-Davis. We'll see how serious it is and whatnot. Okay, offense, man, offense. First day of pads, and we got our first scuffle. Okay, so when the pads come on, the intensity rises, and there's no surprise that this scuffle was between some guys in the trenches, right? So this is rookie offensive tackle Carson Vincent versus veteran now Odafe Owe, right? I'm not sure what happened during the rep, who won the rep, but it was said that they got into it, and at the end of it, Carson Vincent's helmet came off. I love this for both sides. I love it. All right, it's football, it's physical. Now it hasn't been so long. I'm tired of going against the same guys. It hasn't been that long, but there will be a time where they say I'm tired of going against the same guys, and a fight's going to happen, and it happened on the first day. It's all good, right? For the rookie, he's not backing down from anybody. Odafe Owe, doesn't matter who it is, veteran, other rookie, doesn't matter. I'm not backing down. I'm here to accept all challenges. I love that. And Odafe Owe, listen, the rookie, whatever happened, you the veteran, show you stuff. I don't have no issue with it either way, right? So, good news to me. You don't want nobody getting seriously hurt or anything like that, but a little scuffle is not an issue at all, right? So, all right. Now, for actual plays on the field, okay, so Mark Andrews, very involved today, right? He was said to make some big plays out there, okay? And if I'm not mistaken, this really might be the first time I've really mentioned Mark Andrews' name so far in doing these updates, right? So he's been kind of quiet, but when the pads come on, Mark Andrews makes plays. Maybe it's just as simple as that, right? We know that last year he led the Ravens in touchdown catches. He could very well do it again, depending on the kind of reps and snaps he gets, right? I know a lot of people, myself included, would like to see Isaiah Likely more involved in the offense, more snaps, but the Ravens kept Mark Andrews on this team for a reason, right? They didn't keep him here to just, oh, now all of a sudden Mark Andrews is going to play 25% of the snaps. Like, no, he's still going to play a lot, right? So I expect Mark Andrews to have a good year, bounce back year. Well, I can say bounce back. He was great last year. He had a bad playoff performance. So I expect him to have a really, really good regular season again, and hopefully in the playoffs he can turn it up, right? So, but a lesser positive for the Ravens offense, right? Not good at all. They made several big plays today, but a couple of them were negated by penalties. Okay, one of them happened to be that what they're calling, which would have been the play of the day. DeAndre Hopkins makes a one-handed catch on Nate Wiggins. All right. In the red zone, fade ball, he goes up and gets it, right? But they called DeAndre Hopkins for offensive pass interference on Nate Wiggins, right? That's what they called him for, okay? Now, the negatives are too many penalties, but we're talking about pre-snap, post-snap. Offense got to clean that up, but we're early on in training camp. I'll keep saying that until about this week is over. Once this week is over, then we'll stop the it's too early in training camp stuff. But for this week still, first 2 weeks, we'll call it this too early to be concerned about penalties. All right. From the DeAndre Hopkins perspective, this is exactly what I want to see, or I hope I see the video, but this is exactly what I want to hear, right? The Ravens have missed a physical, big body receiver in the red zone that can just make plays and make something out of nothing when it's tight, it's the goal line, maybe we can't get in there running the football. Can we get a wide receiver that could go up one-on-one and win a jump ball? We haven't really had that guy out wide since Anquan Bolden, right? Anquan Bolden is beloved in the Ravens fan base, and he should be. All right, so we want to see Hopkins do this without the pass interference, right? But I like the fact that he can still pull this out of his bag, because I think that the Ravens are going to need this, right? But don't forget, might have been, I think, day one, we talked about Lamar Jackson throwing a back shoulder fade to DeAndre Hopkins, right? So now we got a back shoulder fade to DeAndre Hopkins, and now we got a fade ball in the red zone to DeAndre Hopkins, right? We're building on something where we can say, hey, this guy's going to score touchdowns this year. Lamar Jackson's going to give him the opportunity. All right, so I love to hear that. All right, now to the defensive side of the ball, okay? They didn't put. Oh, sorry. One more thing about the offense. They said the offense struggled in the red zone today. They did say that the offense had a little bit of a struggle in the red zone. So we'll see if they improve upon that. Okay, now for the defense, right? Mike Green showed some flashes in one-on-one drills. They showed him a one-on-one when he was going against undrafted rookie. I think his name is Zaire Mitchell-Payton, tight end, and he stood him up and pushed him down, right? So good flash from Mike Green in terms of strength right there. Love to see that. And then some one-on-one O-line versus D-line drills, okay? Mike Green, his on his first attempt, he was stonewalled by another undrafted free agent, right? His name is Gerald Littenham. I'm probably saying that. I probably murdered his name. Sorry about that. But he comes back, Mike Green, and then wins on the inside move versus Carson Vincent, right? So, hey, you lost the rep, came back, won the rep, right? That's what you want to see, all right? It was also reported that Aeneas Peebles and Kamon Rucker also won their reps. Now, Aeneas Peebles is a guy that's going to give the Ravens a lot of interior pass rush. That's his job. That's what he's going to be there for. And Kamon Rucker was one of those guys that draft Twitter, was very, very excited about it. The Ravens were able to get him as an undrafted free agent. I don't know too much about him. When I saw him, I saw the highlights that was posted of him. Looked very, very explosive, very good. But we'll see what comes of him, right? The Ravens always seem to find undrafted diamonds in the rough. Maybe he could be something, right? But the Ravens D-line looks like they had a pretty good day in the one-on-one, so I'm excited to hear that. This Ravens defensive line could end up being a real strength of the team. I mean, it already is a strength, but I'm talking about a strength where the Ravens don't have to rely so much on blitzing to get pressure. They can get pressure by just having these D linemen up front whipping the guys in front of them, right? That would be a major boost in game for the Ravens defense, okay? Now, how we usually end it, kicking competition, all right? Now, Tyler Luke today, he missed his first couple of field goals of training camp, all right? He was 4 for 7 today. He had misses from 38, 43, and 45. Before today, he was absolutely perfect. He might have been somewhere in the range around like 20 for 20, 17 for 17, somewhere around there. He was high up there in terms of making field goals, okay? Not going to overreact. It is what it is. People are going to miss. You will hope it wouldn't be 3 in one day, but people are going to miss, all right? John Hoyland, 3 for 3. So my last video I said that John Hoyland had a lot of catching up to do, that Tyler Loop had a significant leg up, right? And Tyler Loop has kind of, let him back in a little bit, right? You missed 3 field goals. Hey, you let your competition back in the game. All right, now it'd be the one thing if Tyler Loop went 6 for 7, right? 6 for 7, cool. We could live with that. But 4 for 7, that's a lot. That's a lot. You gotta be honest with it. All right, so we'll see what happens from here. But that's your Ravens training camp update for today, right? The defense is still balling. The defensive line is really getting after it. And the Ravens offense are making some big plays, but they're shooting themselves in the foot right now with penalties, so they got to clean that up. So we'll be back tomorrow with more news, but it's Gabriel, just on Fan TV. I'm out.